to go and coming live. Are you in the bubble? Are you in the famous bubble, John Fogarty?
In camp?
Yeah.
I'm actually out of the bubble for one night. We're going into the Shelburne. So the way it works would be, we'd have the first 3 days of the week, even in COVID, the dreaded COVID. You're in Carton House, and we're training in the HPC, which is in Blanchardstown.
Yeah.
And you're staying there. And for Tuesday's the end, or Wednesday, we finish our training, and there's a bit of a review, and off you go home. For one night, back in tomorrow. So it's literally it's seen as a slightly wider bubble, the families. So we're home for one night. So I'm here in my house. All the kids are in Cork with the wife at my sister's. So it's better than Carton House.
Just we pop to the offie on the way home and now a bag of chips as well. That's the finest. Say no more.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, say no more. Walking around with no trousers on. That's the job.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, fair, yeah. Is it tough? Because I was offered every year, but the last 5 years I've been doing the UCH Panto in University Concert Hall. And I play me, just some tip gulchy walking out on stage. I don't sing or dance. Like I just walk out and go well and walk back off again. That's what it is. But this year just to go on, and they were going to film it, but they needed us all in a bubble for 3 weeks. And that was that. And I went, not a fucking home. I'll murder money. Now, they're very dramatic people, you know.
Well, we over the Six Nations, we were 3 weeks in a bubble, proper bubble, and even at dinner tables in the Carton where we were staying, our dinner table was 3 to a table, and you had to keep distance the whole time in the hotel. So even though we were in a bubble in the hotel, there was a load of rules, like how we queued up for food, when we had team meetings, like a pack of forwards. And you're trying to get nice and close to them, nice and intimate. I want you to, and you had to have social distancing. So it was a challenge in Six Nations, but they haven't relaxed a huge amount. But we can get to go home one week or 1 day a week, and we're PCR tested on the other side of it. So this nose has been riddled more times now. It's absolutely twice a week, every week when we're in camp. So they do a good job. They've done a great job of keeping COVID out. While we were in the Six Nations, this is great. Going for one night is great. Jesus,
yeah, because in all fairness, like it's trying to work the actual the logic behind it, because especially when whatever you'd say about fucking backs, but Jesus Christ, there are lads who are literally rubbing the heads off each other. Rubbing
arms underneath. Yeah, well, this is the mad thing. Like you go out in the pitch and you do a scrum, and literally the most intimate spots are rubbed, and you're up, second rows are right up there, and you'd have mauls where there's spit and licking and all sorts of stuff going on. But then when we go back inside, it does defy logic, because you're back inside then, and it's like, lads, spread out. Spread out. We have to be careful with COVID, and so it's anyway. You're trying to do the right thing the whole time, and the players, there wasn't a huge amount of questioning, but when you stop and think for a second, you're kind of going, Jesus, this is bonkers. But anyway.
Well, you did something right anyway, because when you see teams like all of them are kind of busting out now, South Africa are in this shit, everybody's in this shit now at the minute, like, so you're doing something right anyway. Like. Hopefully we keep it going. We've one more week left. Like if we break up on Sunday, and it's off to Kerry for me, but we break up on Sunday. We play the US on Saturday evening at 7. So there'll be a scatter after that. There'll be literally lads going from all over the place. But hopefully it goes well, and we get through it and get a win and all that stuff. It's funny because you're the only person who 2 past guests have said you have to get this fella on. He's gass's bastard.
Really?
Yeah, you're the only person who's actually been named. And one obviously was your brother, but he'd say. But the next thing, he gave me your number, and lo and behold, I said, why do I already have John Fogarty's number? What fucking what parallel universe am I?
We met on a night out somewhere.
I says, Jesus Christ, I didn't sleep with him. Oh Christ, no, I don't even play for that. No. And then it was Bernard Jackman. I'd head on.
Ah, yeah.
And Bernard said, if there was one fella you have to talk, and because the second he spoke to me, when you actually sound like Fogartys, the two Fogartys as well. Like this.
I know. Jesus Christ. Bernard Jackman used to be called, when his head, when it was in winter, he come out of a scrum and his head was referred to as a steaming ham. The baldy head. Did you ever see a lovely steaming ham coming out of the pot? You'd really appreciate that, but that's what his head was referred to one day. The steaming ham. Yeah, but us hookers will stick together, you know.
But that's it. I was going to say, and I'm sure you've answered it a million times, but like normally when there's two brothers in the household who go pro, one will either be out the backs, they run to the litter or something, and the other fella be up but rarely you end up in the exact same position, specialist position. Like, Denis should have been. Dennis had actual talent. You know, he could pass the ball, and I'm sure he wouldn't be shy of saying it either. But it was a funny one, you know. And we're blessed with size, you know, not in a good way. It's going south at the moment, but two lumps. It worked out. There's always luck involved, but two in the same position, and we were looking to play each other a few times, which is great, you know. It's like civil war at that stage, isn't it? You're just going to tear lumps off each other. Like.
It's mad, because you really like I don't know. I had the older brother Damien, and like when the older brother is like with the younger brother, would play a game of penalties, and he goes up 5. You know, you're playing to 10. He goes 8-0 up, and then he lets you come back. And you might win 10-9, and you're like, yes. Damien would flat out beat you 10-0, and then he goes, yes, oh, shit, you're shit, and I'd be straight in. But I was slightly nicer brother with Dennis. You know, you never want to lose to your brother. But I had this kind of like, I was standing beside him one day. He was throwing a ball, and before he was throwing the ball, and I was like, come on, Dennis, come on. I wanted him to do well. I really genuinely did. But as soon as he won the ball, I was like, oh, no. There's a weird feeling of, I hope he goes well, but I hope the team is terrible. You know.
Yeah.
It's the funny one.
It's a duality of man, isn't it? Like you're going, go on, have a go, you prick you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm delighted. I was delighted for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like, I mean, you had a cut off of 3 of the 4 provinces, but you said, I give it all a look.
Well, you can say that. I was booted out of Munster because I really wasn't good enough at the time. Like we'd be driving down. I was saying this to Paulie in camp. I was saying, like, Jesus, it's amazing. Like, you know, you think a fella would learn, like, you come in, you get an opportunity to play in a good team, and you're kind of going. Like, we used to stop on the way down to the main camp was in Limerick. So you had the Cork lads. I lived in Cork time, and you had to drive from Cork to Limerick, but you'd stop for a water or a sandwich or something. I'd come out with a packet of crisps and, you know, a Snickers and a big sandwich going on your way to training. You know, this is back in 2000. And
to be fair, that's a good petrol station in Mallow there too. Like, there were a lot of nice
a couple of right ones. But so it's, you know, you learn a lot from getting booted out. But yeah, I was in 3 provinces, booted out of Munster, and had a great time in Connacht before. Michael Checker was the coach that dragged me up to Leinster, you know. So it's mad.
But tell the truth though, when you were going down home visit, you weren't wearing that blue gear, like.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I literally, and they wouldn't hold back either. It wasn't like, Jesus, John, you did well there. It was like, oh, you fucking showering lady boys, you snuck by, pure pox. Referee was useless, and you weren't that good enough. They were just flat out. Like, I was like, you the most ignorant crowd.
Oh, ignorant.
Uncles, aunts, cousins, the lot. Like, yeah, well done. And it was really like, you know, that we were saying earlier on, well done. It was like, well done. Didn't mean a word of it. I had one uncle, my uncle Brendan, who was my godfather, and he used to send a text. Well on, Jay. He was my only supporter. He's moving to France, so
he's even getting out of Dodge. Like,
he's getting out, yeah, for supporting me. But yeah, I'm sure I hated him as well. Like, there was a time when you would have hated Leinster. Like,
yeah,
you loved watching them lose. But then, like, you were getting a few bob, and nowhere else to go. And as it turns out, some of them aren't that bad at all. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, because I remember I talked with Leamy, and I'd known him years, but he was saying, like, the day I met him, he was wearing the Leinster gear.
In Cashel?
No, Christ, no. I met him. We met up in Dublin. No, and that was the thing. And he stopped. Yeah. We sat down, and I looked him up and down. I went, "Don't fucking say a thing, will you? Yeah. I'm going out to work now in a minute."
You're gonna cut you.
I didn't say it, but it was just a shock to the system. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you see it's like when you see a teacher out of school in normal clothes. You're going, "What the fuck? You're a normal person." Like, it was just, the picture didn't fit right. He goes, "Oh, stop." He says, "I have to talk out." He says, "In Junction 14 on the way home." There's no way I could land at the cat. After all he's done for Munster, still they'd spit on him for wearing that. To go, "What is that shit? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And shaming the family, shaming everybody.
Yeah. Mind you, Cashel, there's gonna be a statue of Denis Leamy and his massive hands in Cashel.
Just hands.
Just
two hands.
And him winking behind it. Yeah, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, Leo and Guy, my guys, a manager in Leinster, said Leamy's in for the academy role job. And I said, I literally just went, Denis Leamy. Denis. Yeah. I was like, wow. But ambitious fella as well. He wants to go and coach, and he'll do it anywhere, literally anywhere. He went to Leinster, so he's flying it. Yeah, he's flying it, and he's in the blue. It's great. It's a relief for me.
Yeah, it takes the bad look off you, doesn't it? It's like, well, look,
Trevor Hogan was another fella from North Tip.
Yeah.
And that went there. Funny old place, North Tip, isn't it?
It is. It's like the weird cousins, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they're just different.
We're related, but at the same time, you only meet at weddings, but you go, "Okay, give him a wide berth," like, as soon as the pints kick in,
Very true.
Well, it's a thing I put to pretty much everybody that I've had on, because anybody I've had on that's from Tipperary, but I had, like, it was only when I moved to Dublin first, not so much when I was in Cork, but when I moved to Dublin, it was actually said to me abroad. I was gigging in Edinburgh one night, and afterwards a fellow from Monaghan went, "Oh, you're all mad fuckers from Tip." I went, "Huh? Sure, we're mad everywhere." Like, "Oh, no. There's a different breed of fucking madness in Tip." Like, and so I put it to lads who have been around the place, not just, there's no point in saying it to a fella in Tip, because they go, "We're grand," with his third fucking ear growing out of his forehead. Like, but I put it like, and then I started putting it to different, like the likes of Pat Sharp, Leamy, and a couple more, and Quinlan even went, "Oh, yeah, actually, now that you say it, there's a bit of a madness.
There's something wrong."
Yeah. There's like, I mean, at first Leamy thought they were being racist, and I was too. I thought the same thing. I was like, "What? How do you fucking mean?" Like, surely you've gotten it anyway.
There'd be a little bit of looseness in there inside the head, and so what I've been told was, fucking hell, you go on about Tip a lot, or if like. If there was water, you'd only be picking the Tipperary water.
Oh yeah.
Great stuff, this, and you go on about it there, or you'd be like Premier County. You know what I mean?
Say no more.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's,
you're only getting the copybooks with the Rocket Cashel on it as well. Like, that's all. They're the only ones I'm using. It's the only ones I'm using.
Second most visited site consistently every year in Ireland is the Rocket Cashel. Now imagine that, Rocket Cashel, great food, booze. You just keep going on. I keep going on about it, unbeknownst to myself. Then I get called up and shut up. Will you just shut up? When was the last time you were at home? I'd be like, "Yeah, no, I need to go home a bit more." Yeah.
But I swear to God, a good friend of mine. He's from up near Nina, but all he'll do is talk about Tip. All he'll do, like, the wife's from Brazil, so there's no hope. Sure, she even thinks Dublin's a village, like, so there's no hope she's ever going to go down. I said, "Look, divorce is there for everybody. It's all right."
Exactly. Like, you can have a bit of it at some stage. That's it. And even there'd be a lot of fellas not from Ireland, and I'd be like, "You have to go down." Like, the Golden Vale was, the land, the grass, the dairy, it's just an amazing county. Historic, medieval, Cahir Castle, Cromwell's ball stuck in the wall, and I'd be going on and on and on and on, and I guess that's just the way it is. We're proud.
Yeah.
Premier County,
up to Han Tip. We finished.
One of my daughters actually saying it. The two Johnnies,
oh Jesus,
Tip are back in business. So she plays camogie up here. And football, and she played her first game of football 3 weeks ago, and I scored 2 goals that I was right. I saw you, Jennifer. And she goes, Tipper, back in business. I was like, yes. I have her. She's
As one tear came rolling down your cheek going, jeez.
Yeah, nearly crashed the car.
But you went from, was it tough then I'm jumping all over the map. Was it tough going from like having the right crack? Like, was there a break period between you playing to go and coaching, like before you, or was it just straight into it? Like, how do you switch that gear? Because you're having the crack and then you got to technically bollock lads out of them. They be their boss to a degree, like.
Yeah, it was it was a funny one. You're leaving the dressing room for everyone. It doesn't matter what level of sport you're playing. When you're told eventually, and there's fellas playing junior B, or there's fellas hanging in there playing for as long as possible. But when you leave a dressing room and you can't go back in because either you're fired or you're just too old or whatever it is, there's a certain kind of, you're gutted that you have to leave that environment because anything can be said in there. It's, you know, it's it's a great place to be. But so it was there was a 5 or 6 months when I was finishing a college course. I was doing a college course, and an academy role came up within Leinster, and in those 5 months I was just drifting, kind of trying to find something to do. I was had a bit of space to be able to do stuff, and anyway, this academy role came up and it was back in, so it wasn't straight back in coaching the lads that I would have played with, but it was back in there. And like, you know, I couldn't, when I saw a player that I played with go down the corridor, I couldn't jump and get him in a headlock.
Yeah.
And go, hey, way! Like I had to act in some way, because I didn't really know how to act either. You know what I mean? You've come from playing into coaching, and you're probably doing what's been done in the place, and you're probably copying people in there a little bit. So I was trying to be all straight-laced, and I was getting get into head. Lads would come and shoulder me into a wall and be like, come on, stop, I'm a coach now, I'm technically your boss.
Come on, guys.
Lads, guys, I'm technically your boss. You can't do that. And but I think what I've learned anyway over time is you have to be yourself a small bit as well. So yeah. I think you know, over time I probably brought a bit of my own personality to what I'm doing as a coach, and I hope it's working out. It seems to be gone okay so far. So it was easy enough. It was easy enough in the end. But I know what you're saying. Like when I went to the seniors first, Mike Ross was playing, and I would have played with him in Cork Con. So and then I would have played with him in Leinster and played against him a rake times in between. And it wasn't easy to tell him, like, you know, fucking square up in the scrum. You're making a bollocks of it. Yeah, because, you know, I'd never played tight head, and he was such a specialist in that area. So initially, you do. You behind closed doors, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know yourself. It's not easy jump in front of a load of people or a group of lads that you've played with and, you know, give it to them. But it's your job. It's not, you know, your job is your job. It's your job. Yeah, it's your job. Got to be done. So, it's easy now. They're all young, and I can say what I want to them.
Oh yeah. Because of course once you're over the age of like 30, you're ancient, sure, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Especially nowadays, they're all young, you know. So it's a young man's game. So it's brilliant.
Yes, it's funny as you say that, because in front of people, I'm the one gig I did here in Bancha. It was I was a full, like, we managed, it was myself and Delamere we put on a show, and but I went out first and kind of stood there for the first 5 seconds, went, this is fucking weird for anybody else, is it? And I nearly took the weirdness out of it for them too, because they all knew me since I was, you know, playing under fours, hurling, like, whatever, and going, oh yeah, this is very fucking weird. So, and then it was like, but now for the next 30 minutes, will we do this thing? You know, it nearly had to be pointed out that moment, like. Mad,
yeah. You'd see the age, when I was in the academy, you'd see when they were born, you know, and you'd see, oh, he was born in 99, and you're kind of going,
what?
That can't be right. And you're like that.
I was on my second car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that can't be. You're counting it, is he? Oh fuck. Oh yeah, he's. Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, 97, 99, 2000, 01. So it's a shock. But like, you know, if you drink enough and you have a few blackouts, a lot of that memory is gone, and it works.
It works for me. You know, it works.
Exactly. Yeah. You forget, you know.
I do. Was it put to you first about scrummaging, or were you going, this is what I want to specialize in?
Yeah, it's the funny one. I never wanted to be a I didn't want to be a head coach. I knew early on. I really wanted to specialize in the areas that I was really interested in, or that I felt that I could have made a difference in it. So in the RFU, there's the coaching courses. To get level 3 coaching, you have to go and coach as a head coach. And I said it to them at the time. I said, I don't want to be a head coach. I never want to be a head coach. A guy called Gert Small. He's called Gert in Ireland, but he's Gert.
Yeah.
In South Africa, he was a specialist. He was a set piece coach. He coached line out and scrum, and this was kind of happening around rugby a bit, like NFL, where you had offensive, defensive, special teams, and it was happening in rugby where this was happening. So I kind of started to specialize when I came into the academy and said I'd like to be responsible for whatever breakdown, line out, maul, scrum, and naturally, for me, I was always interested in scrum. You're always trying to find ways to get better as a player. And for a lot of forwards, they'd look at the scrum and go, yeah, just push. But I was really interested in how I could be better because I wasn't a big man. So trying to get better when I was a player was kind of, I was exploring ways of doing that. So
yeah,
I naturally kind of gravitated towards it a small bit. And like I said, rugby started to evolve. The coaching team started to expand a small bit, so there was room now for a specialist coach. So I that's that kind of, it wasn't really suggested. I kind of just found my way there a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and I like the way you broke the mold as well. And you went, "Oh, don't worry, I don't want any of your jobs. I just want to just leave me where I am."
Yeah.
Cute out.
I'm harmless. I'm harmless.
You wouldn't even know I'm here, lads.
Don't even we'll tip away here now with the scrum. And
he's sitting down behind his own desk. Did we even give it to him? How's he getting this job? How he has a job? Where did he get that tracksuit from? Nobody.
Is he getting paid?
I
think he is, yeah.
I think he works here now.
Exactly.
Hey, morning, guys.
Yeah.
I'll just tip away here.
I'll slide in and I'll own the place eventually. I'll slide in underneath the door. But
cute out. It's like
that was it. Yeah, it was. And yeah, like I said as well, like wanting to do things that like there's a certain amount of stretching yourself, and having a look at defense or having a look at the carry and attack and some link play, all these kind of things. But I felt that I could make a difference, or I felt that I had a point of difference. And I could use this to get in, like we talked about, and then kind of grow from there. And there was as mad as it all is, there was always a bit of a plan in my head as I was going along that this is the direction I wanted to go in, and we expand from there. And that's what I tried to do.
Because scrummaging these days, when you see, well, I mean, not so much in the pub these days, but when you're standing alongside the shower of bollocks, and you know full well they may be looking up a bull's arse. Like, for me, it's like the UFC jiu-jitsu. You hear fellas going, "Oh, that's a great ankle lock," and you're going, "Lad, you wouldn't know it if I actually put you in, you fucking idiot."
Full clinch.
Yeah, like that's me looking at scrummage going, well, he's got a long bind. You're going, man, shut the fuck up. Most front rowers don't even know anything about the scrum. Are you joking? Like, and for I played in the backs for years, so I know enough to know that I'm taking ignorant when it comes to that. Like, so
yeah, I know. You get a lot. You do get it. You do. I guess everyone is that is into any sport. They feel a part of it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. But it can be fucking painful. Like when you have someone going, you were full. You were you were smashed last week in the scrum. Your man was on the fellow you picked was on an angle. Why are you picking him? And you're kind of going, you just want to go, but you go, you know yourself.
Yeah,
you know yourself. Sure, look it.
Sure, look it is a great phrase. Yeah,
sure, look it. Where
that's more of it, huh?
We'll get it right next week. So yeah, yeah. You have to put up with a certain amount of criticism or like that. Now I had a neighbor in one place, I won't say where I was living, but he used to say it across the John across the street. I'd be putting the bin out, and I'd go, I'd hear the first John, and you go, oh fuck.
Let's hope there's another John.
I might just turn it. John, oh Jesus, how are you? oh my God, what about the penalties in the scrum? And I go, sure. You know yourself. I just walk back in, close the door, and go to Sinead. Fucking kills me, that man. He kills me. So, but in the main, everyone is fairly supportive, even if they're behind your back going, shit, he's shit. But it's not that bad. But there's a few instances where you're going, just go away.
Yeah, because I mean, you're in the international eye now, so there's no turning pure F and Eddie and going, who's that bollocks? You know what I mean? You can't. You have to go, well, guys, you know, we did our best, and you know, we take some learnings from all this. You have to fucking wrap it up, don't you?
Yeah, but this is it. And I that's the one thing when you move from provincial or, you know, to the international game, everything's under the spotlight, and it's a change. Like it's a big change. You know, there's naturally more pressure. You know, because
of course, yeah.
Well, we play America at the weekend. If you know, there's a kind of you win by 60 but you should have won by 60. If you win by 5, you're useless. If you lose the game, fire him. You know, so there should be pressure. It's there's a lot of good rugby players in Ireland. There's a lot of talent. The team needs to be performing really well. So yeah, look, you get it. Sometimes you're in the mood and you can handle it. Sometimes you just want to go, you know what I mean? But it comes with the job, and you know, you're lucky to be involved too with the job, so you'll take it.
Because there's times, you know, when you see, like, because refs don't seem to be reffing crooked feeds on lineouts or crooked feeds on scrums at all anymore. It's like, fired in by it.
It's mad. We said it to before last week. We said it to, before the Japan game, and the referees were like, absolutely, you're dead right. I could not believe how crooked the feed was against England the week before. We're like, perfect. And queued up Jameson Gibson Parks. So just when you see a feed, just cue the referee. Feed. All done. Not one free kick, and your man, he nearly lost a hand in the scrum. His hands were that far into the scrum. It was like that. But you do what you can to get away with it, to get away with a win, wouldn't you?
Did you love scrummaging? You must have fucking loved it, like because it takes a certain level of lunatic to love that, mashing the shit out of lads, like.
Yeah.
Were you born to be a pig farmer or something? Like what in the name of Christ?
I don't know. I was good at getting belted.
Right. Yeah.
I was like a bit of mauler. You know the way if you had a big huge bit of mauler and you could heat, and it would just dent. It would never kind of break. I was kind of a little bit like that. So I enjoyed the contact in sport. It came against me in the end, but like I loved it. I said we were in the academy and I was watching before a game, watching scrums. They're warming up, and I was beside one of the other coaches, and I said, and I hadn't finished that long, and I was looking at the scrums, like, you know, and then I went, Jesus, I missed the scrums. And, he asked me the same thing.
For the audio listeners here, John's face actually looked like a man looking at a fucking, like a fellow who'd been on a diet for a year and saw a chocolate cake. He just went, what is this?
Exactly. I was like, I could feel the scrum, like, you know, I was looking at it going, oh, I really missed the scrum. And he was like, what? But yeah, I off, like, everything's videoed, and off camera, I could be, you know, when the scrum goes in, I kind of crouch down a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't even know I'm doing it, you know. So you're living every second of it. But I really enjoyed it. You know, there's a bit of time before a scrum. The referee blows his whistle. You're gearing up, so there's a bit of, and then the opposition are directly in front of you. So there's, you know, you can eyeball them. You can look for it's really it's pure,
uncomfortable. It's caveman shit, isn't it? Like,
exactly. And you're kind of going, let's fucking go. And then in my time it was crouch, touch, pause, and you were
smash,
like, and bang. So yeah, it was just a real kind of confrontational part of the game that I enjoyed. Yeah, and yeah, it's something I missed. Yeah, it was brilliant. I found it brilliant.
I love your faces making so many like.
I'm thinking of it.
An ex-girlfriend, like, she was all right, but she's mad bitch, but she was all right. She was all right.
There was only ever one girlfriend in my house.
Oh yeah, of course.
Love my life, Sinead Fogarty.
Yeah, right. And we're saying that officially on the air here. I'm just saying, you know, hypothetically, if there ever had been, you'd have known somebody who had an ex one time, like, you know.
Correct.
What I mean? Yeah.
Correct.
And the Connacht time must have been good, all crack, because nobody comes away from Galway and doesn't have a good time, man.
What a city! Like it's some crack, isn't it? Like the thing was with Galway is that at the time there wasn't a huge amount of Galway lads playing rugby in Connacht.
Yeah.
Just there was a good group of lads, and they were brilliant lads, but there was a larger group of lads came from Tip or from somewhere else, South Africa. So what it did was everyone was in other people's houses for dinner. In Leinster, all the lads live here. They're from here. They've all a load of friends outside of the team. Whereas in Galway, we really hung out together, and we were a really tight group. I think based on the fact that there was a lot of guys that weren't, you know what I mean? They weren't just going off to their friends after games, or they weren't. That we hung out. We went for grub during the day, and like I said, we had dinner in people's houses. So there was an unbelievable atmosphere down in Galway, and the city itself is not big enough where fellas can go and hide. We were always together in the city.
Yeah.
And two colleges, tourists in the summer, and a really cool vibe going through the place. It was some crack. We loved it, myself and the missus. It was a brilliant place to live. We got opened up a few times on the pitch, so it wasn't the best place at the time. It's a great place at the moment.
With the sideways piss and rain coming in the top.
Gee, do you know what it was? The wind. Because the rain sometimes is okay, but you can handle the rain. But the wind was relentless. It was just in your face, just blowing all the time. The first year I went there, for about 4 or 5 weeks, it was particularly bad. And the rain would come, and when the wind and rain are coming, and that's when you're getting raindrops right into the pupil. But the wind was just non-stop. And if you're throwing a ball in, and you're just watching it going, woof, woof, and you're going, for fuck's sake. It was difficult. So yeah, but over time you learn to use the wind, throwing bananas into the line out. But Galway was great. It was a great fight. I had 5 seasons down there, and ended up captaining them at one stage, and some unbelievable memories. There was no kids involved back then, so it was always a good time.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be shy of a night out. Because I think Galway is based around that. Like, because
I think so.
It's based around, everything else is kind of subsequent to that. It's like,
you're up for crack. Come on in. Yeah, it's brilliant.
But you did, obviously, you started out in Munster, and then as you said, you got the boot. Sure, look, it happens to the best of us. Like, it
was a good thing. I turned it into a positive. It was a good thing.
Of course. Well, you didn't have to fuck off anywhere too far, just up the west coast, like it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then old Checks, who was he as grumpy as he fucking seemed like? Because he seemed like a grumpy old bollocks, but obviously shit hot, like. Yeah,
I mean, like his need to win was just. It was like when he was talking, you could. Davy Fitz gets a rap for kind of like that. Tex wasn't quite like that, but you could listen, you could understand him when he talked. But he had such a desire to win, and everything he coached, and how he ran the place, and I loved that. I loved that mindset. Because that was important. In fact, we'd lose him for a couple of years,
Right, yeah.
I really enjoyed that kind of chat. But yeah, he came calling. He came calling. We want to sign you, mate. I want you to put Birch, the steaming ham, under pressure. I said, no bother. And
I have a full head of hair, and we'll travel.
Yeah, exactly. And he might have had a few relations from Tip, because he was a bit mad as well. Like
ignorant, yeah. But it sounds from what I've heard, like.
we were in a meeting one day, and I was he was talking to someone else, and I was biting my fingernails like this, and I happened to have the fingernail, a bit of my nail in my mouth, and I was like that, messing with it in my mouth. But I was deadly serious meeting, and he goes, "You think this is fucking funny, do you, folks? You think it's fucking funny? Well, you can fuck off back to Connacht. You gotta get funny, mate. Get the fucking small off your face." I was like this, and I wanted to go straight away. No, I have a nail in my mouth. So I was like, I just went, sorry. And then after the meeting, I went up to him and went, "Michael, just so you know, I was actually picking a nail off my finger, and I was chewing the nail, and that's what, I wasn't smiling at all." He was like, "Mate, okay, fair enough." But he'd rip you, he'd open you up like.
Fucking hell, that's some level of intensity. Like,
yeah, it wasn't just like, "Don't you fucking smile." It was like, "Your children's children." He was like, was intense, but like, I guess he knew what where he wanted the team to go to, and he was driving it that way, and it worked out, in 2009. I mean, it worked out, a Heineken Cup, and off you go. Probably a bit short-lived. He goes places 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But I thought he was brilliant, and he knows his rugby, and he can motivate the group and all the management side of things. Now there'll be some lads would say, I hate his guts, but he got it done in the end.
Because that's a perfect analogy, actually, the Davy Fitz of rugby. But you couldn't have that level of insanity and savagery around the place for 10 years, because everybody be driven to half cracked. Like, you'd have to set it in stone and then move on and do it in another place.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think he definitely, you hear he's definitely evolved. He evolved his coaching as well, and probably was a small bit aware. But at that time, my God, he'd go through it for shortcuts, and be fucking harsh, really harsh about it too, I was a bit older, so you grow skin, don't you? And I think but if I was an academy player coming out, these lads are coming out of school, they've so much to learn, so they're going to naturally make mistakes, so they're not equipped to deal with that type of stuff. But anyway, look at
that's more of it now.
Exactly.
But at least you're getting the best in the country. They're filtering to you now at the minute, like, really. So you probably don't have to lift them out of it, but like at Ireland stage, do you? Like, Hardy lads
I think it's rare enough, a lot of the time you're asking players to there has to be a certain amount of calmness that goes on in the mind of a player, so that they can do the right thing, and that can put them in position where they can actually then look like they've got loads of intent. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like,
if
I'm nice and calm and I'm coming around and I have an eye on defense and I'm trying to carry the ball, I'm getting my timing off the 9, I'm looking where defense is, seeing if it's adjusting. There's a certain amount of calmness that has to exist in the mind of a player so that he can do all these things and understand who's supporting him. And then when he receives the ball and he's doing all these things right, he can then bring the noise in terms of contact, and that looks like it's madness. But if we're coaching that and we're expecting the players to act like that, I think you need to it needs to be present in the way you're coaching as well. So there's a lot of organization in a game like rugby. You know what it's like. So you need to be able to take in messages, listen, and give and have good, clear comms. So there's So there's a lot of, I think the days of a lot of roaring and shouting, it's quite calm at the moment. There would be times.
That's good. It would be good to hear.
Yeah, it is. But there would be times when they need to understand what the standard is, or what 100% looks like, and there's a certain amount of ironing pieces out, and that's I think just holding them account to what the standard is. That's the part where you can make them feel guilty. It's like a mother saying, I'm not cross with you, I'm just disappointed. There's a little bit of that goes on.
Because there's some amount of shit in their plate to deal with nowadays. Like, if it isn't just rucking and passing in
in
American football, the fuckers have only one job, and then they tip away, and another fella comes in and does another job. They go for exactly. Cup of tea on the sideline as your man comes in. And does.
It's great. No, there's so many parts, and for the position I played in, and the fellas that were close to me, they're large men. You know what I mean. So they're jaded, tired for half the game, and they're to be in really stressful situations where they have to. It's a max effort. They're under serious stress, pushing and shoving, and then they arrive out of a scrum, and the first 3 steps, they could collapse, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they're out, and then they're listening and picking up the cues and all that stuff, on an exit, or in how they manage the amber, kick chase. When we get into the opposition 22, now we're into picking all the bits. There's so many pieces to it. But they get it. They're grand. They get paid well enough.
So basically, you're telling me that Tyke Furlong sidestepping is all down to you. Is that what that's basically
100%. 100%. I said it. I said anyone that said it, Jesus, you see that? I said, well, it's good coaching. It's good.
There you go.
Yeah. It's just, so
there was somebody. there was
He's a
somebody
perfect
did,
example of a fella that's unbelievably intelligent.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he's
yeah,
so
yeah.
large. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, because there was a great meme from the guy that runs the Three Red Kings.
Yeah.
I had him on a couple of, but he fucking brilliant with his memes, and it was just as he was sidestepping each one of those players, he had their heads replaced with sweet potatoes because he'd just come out with that bit where he hated Aaron Spuds. It's like, who that's he? Jesus, man, you make me feel cosmopolitan by coming up with that shit, man. That's some bullshit shit.
Oh, he
right
loves
there.
it. He lays that on. He does.
Oh, no doubt he lays that on. Like, and
lays it on.
Isn't that a nice thing to see out of a Leinster player? Like, because O'Brien was like the thickest culture, like thickest level of culture.
Oh.
And then you go, but you're wearing blue. How is that? How did you?
This can't be right.
Because you came in the scene right at collars up, Nicker Stain. You know what I mean? Like 2008, 2000. Are you serious? Brown Thomas all the way, you absolute skanker. And then
Munster.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
D Fortress. It's a brilliant one, isn't it?
Oh Jesus Christ.
I love that to the lads.
I never heard that.
Oh, so you come up to D Fortress to watch a game, they'd be like that. Oh, fuck off.
That's after giving me a dose of iron just thinking about that. That's fucking brutal.
Leinstertainment, another beautiful one.
I played a character on the show years ago called Damo and Ivor. I played a character called Torquin, and that's who I was playing. All these were absolute wankers, but to get met by them now, because they go, "Indeed, everyone, I love it in the show." They're going, "Well," and I purposely I do the time for I lay into it, going, "Well, boys, how you getting that?" And there's disgust on their face, like I just pissed in their mother's handbag, like they're going, "Are you a culture?"
Yeah,
like I lied to them, like.
Here, pass over the water. I love it. The Wexford lads.
Water.
Water.
Forget about the T in the middle of any words. That flat water. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. I like the funny thing, like in Leinster, the club game is really like the youth in Leinster. They put a lot of time into developing that part that those lads. I mean, there's a lot of guys working in that area, and over the years, so there's a load of fellas that have come through. And Peter Dooley, he's in camp at the moment. He's from Burr. His father's actually from Tip, but the Byrne brothers, they're from Carlow. So you pick up lads from all over the place, and so there's more and more of them. They're never put out the front too much because they fucking sound ridiculous. But
fucking savages, Christ above.
But they're there, and they're adding, so it's there's a wonderful mix. There's a wonderful mix at the moment.
It's like they have to have a quota of culture just to balance the books, guys, because we don't want to save, bigoted.
Clean him and then bring him in. There's a bang. What's the bang?
Bang. Is that guy mowing slurry or something? What's he doing? What's he fucking doing?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
But your time came because you you were the forerunner. I think I've gone blurry there for some reason with the excitement.
Either you've gone blurry or I'm fucking.
No, I think the Rock of Cashel is fading me out here for some reason. I got excited with the Rock. Well, sure, it does have that effect. Second most visited.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Year on year, you're back.
Year on year, I'm back.
Yeah.
But you kind of because there was a period there where I was just keeping an eye because you had retired or whatever, and I was, but you were giving talks on concussion, and I think you were probably one of the forerunners that kind of changed the game for like there was nobody talking about it prior to you talking about it. Really, like
it was a mad time because you're right. Well, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, before like say a year before that, a concussion. Like if I was knocked out in a game, I'd be kind of like, you'd kind of shake it off.
Yeah.
It was in no way seen as an injury. And that's what they tried to do is make it a visible injury. And that's what I wanted to get involved in with Acquired Brain Injury Ireland and that kind of thing. But it wasn't, it was just, I remember there was, you get knocked out and there was times when you'd be in the dressing room after a match kind of going, you're physically tired after games and but I was starting to get like I felt empty. I felt like I'm wrecked here. Struggled to sleep when you got home then, and the next day then you'd be blind and headaches, and it was just shite. But yeah, when I eventually retired, but my point was, it wasn't seen as an injury. So you turn up, and if it's well, how are you? Good. You're not going to go. And I'm feeling unbelievably irritable, and I was watching an ad there the other day, and I started crying during the ad because it made me emotional. So I don't know what's happening here. So you aren't going to go in and say those things. Whereas if your leg was hanging off, you could go, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
It was, and within a year, like, the protocols started to come in. How do you deal with concussion? And it started a bit more awareness, I guess, retiring from it, having to retire from it. And I signed a 2-year contract, had come back from a tour to New Zealand with Ireland. And I was kind of gearing up for, I was finally coming good as a player.
Shite, anyway, yeah.
No. So I was hating the fact that concussion was starting to become a real thing. But I couldn't keep going at the time. But it was mad. It all kind of changed. And then there was, someone got concussed, they were taken off the pitch, and there was a return to play protocols, and rightly so. But it went from not an injury to a really serious injury, and an injury now that they put a lot of time and effort into. So it was, I wasn't in any way aware of all that, because I wanted to try and get a second opinion. It sounds mad, but I was talking to a neurologist, and he was like, look, we think you should, or we were suggesting that you hang him up. And I said, right, okay, so that's okay. Sinead, we need to see another guy, because this is nonsense. This is nonsense.
How many concussions did they reckon you have that the neurologist reckoned time to hang it up, dude?
Yeah, it was. I had a load.
Okay.
So this is the other thing. What's a concussion? Sometimes you can get not knocked out, but your brain is slapped off your skull a few times.
Yeah.
And you're symptomatic. So I think over the, if you're looking at 7 or 8 or 9 a year over the years, they can stack up. It wouldn't have been every year of my career, but I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, you could pick up, a lot of that number of concussions on a yearly basis, and you're trying. I was trying to fix tackle tech, and now this is the thing. Like, I loved the scrum, the contact part of the scrum, and I loved contact. I loved the rucks. I was not good at rugby. That's what. And like,
that shit, you can keep that, but can I keep smashing people, please?
Yeah, exactly. I'll do this for the team, and the ball will get back, and someone good will score, or someone that can do that. That's what I was focusing on, trying to be physical, but at the same time I was knocking myself out. So I was trying to fix technique. But when you're 32 and your technique is your technique at that stage, it's you're not going to start doing something revolutionary. So fuck it anyway. Yeah, it was a good thing that happened to retire. It was shite at the time, but you look back now and go, fuck it. There was 10, 11 years that were amazing to be involved in rugby and all that stuff. So,
and you can still remember, everything came back right, that you didn't go beyond the point of rescue, because
no, it was there was 6 or 7 months that was crap, but after that it was fine. The funny one, my short-term memory was awful, and I was coaching at De La Salle. I used to do some coaching when I was playing, because I just liked coaching, and I'd be looking at a guy and I'd know his name, but I'd be like, you, and he'd have a French jersey. So I couldn't remember their name, so it was called Yellow Boots. So I was wrecking my head coaching because I couldn't remember the names, and I was having real issues with short-term memory. After training one day, I drove into my house, opened my door straight into the hall. I had to use the bathroom, and I was sitting on the toilet, and I was sitting there. Next thing, knocking. Hello. I was like, yeah, hello. The car door is open. I went, okay, your front door is open in the house. All right, the keys of your car in the front door. And I went, are you going to take my car? But like, and he was like, no, I'm just dropping the post off. I was like, okay, thanks.
What the politest robber. And
exactly, that's what I was thinking. Oh my god, is he going to take the car? But like, I'd have gotten out of the car. Sinead came home and the keys were in the door a load of times. I mean, the keys go in the door, you turn open the door. How do you leave the door? So that happened a load of times. Loads of little things like that were I lost an iPad. To this day, I do not know where that thing is. But it was just a bonkers time. And then trying to, being annoyed that this was now an injury all of a sudden, and I had to finish from it. I was like, I can't believe this. But so 6 or 7 months that were crap. But thank God I'm fine. I think I'm fine.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm happy anyway. So, you know,
blissfully ignorant, walking around leaving shit everywhere.
Exactly.
I didn't put trousers on today. Did I put?
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't put trousers on, but sure, look it.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell me this, like, as you said, there was a this is only because almost nobody knows really about him, and I mean, you know, probably will learn more as they do that CT, you know, slicing a brain scan.
Yeah.
Because I definitely have been. I know I got knocked out. I remember playing against Cork Con one time, but it was like pour a bit of water on the back of his head there, you know, and it was like, yeah, that sounds a great idea. I got sparked playing against a fucking Samoan lad that looked like a heroin addict, but he felt like a bag of hammers. Not big hammers, just loads of bits of little hammers.
Yeah, a load of small ones.
Load of small bits of him every which way. The fucker, like I was a bit of a tank at the time. I was like, I'm gonna steamroll this lad. Come on,
watch this.
They were a really shit team that were playing at the time, and I remember thought I woke up with smelling salts going, well, that escalated quickly, didn't it? And it was like,
I know, it's a mad feeling as well, isn't it? Because you're vulnerable as well. You're like, oh Jesus Christ, what happened? You know, it's a bit of a shock.
It is, yeah.
You spend long enough thinking about it, you know, you can spook yourself a lot. You know, it's a serious thing. Like I got knocked out one day, and I was calling for a ball, and Luke Fitz was making a break, and I was kind of here, like here, going
the quintessential guy at that deep forehead.
He was doing that. He was.
That's who I essentially played. I played Lukey when I did Tarquin. It was like, guys.
Do you know what he called me? BOGATRON.
Okay.
I was like,
I am right. That's going.
Yeah.
That's going in the description of this. That's today's episode, everybody. We're ending it now. We cannot beat that. That's BOGATRON.
I was such a big bogger. I was BOGATRON. But he was I was like that, looky, and Sean O'Brien was just running on the inside of me, and you're not going to pass it to me if Sean O'Brien is in the vicinity. So it looked like I was getting the ball, and an enormous 8 that played with Treviso just came in and smashed me, hit me. His head hit me here, but all I remember was looky, and then I remember there was grass in my eye, and I was lying down in the face down in the grass, and my eyes were wide open, and there was just loads of and I was kind of going, I didn't have a clue why there was grass in my eyeball, and I was not. I just come to, like, you know, it was just such a strange to go from running fully coherent to an eyeball of grass and totally out of it. And you know, it was mad. It's a mad thing to happen. It shouldn't happen regularly, but unfortunately it did in the past. They manage it well. Now, but it's going to have to. It does exist in the game because it's a contact game. So
yeah, because that is that's weird, because I've never heard it described with that, the loss of that couple of seconds.
Yeah,
and the weirdness of, why am I on my arse?
Yeah,
what the you know, and nobody knows what it's like to lose time, even a couple of milliseconds. Nobody knows what it's like to, and but like, does the head get more susceptible in that, like a boxer's chin?
Yeah.
Once they get rattled a couple of times, the chin's gone, and they need 6 months to recover, really, like, to get the nerve endings to fucking go back in or whatever, like.
Yeah, that was the case for me, because if I was tackling someone and their hip would hit my head, I'd take a wobble, you know. I was like, fucking hell, how am I? That's what I was annoyed at. How am I'd take a wobble, and my knees would drop to the ground, and I'd be hanging on, and then I'd be getting up off the ground going, shit, like I'm trying to tackle now, and I'm getting a wobble. How is this possible? Like, fuck's sake.
I was smashing lads a year ago, like, yeah.
I was killing them. Yeah, so it was very frustrating, because, like I said, at the time, it wasn't an injury. It wasn't seen as an injury. I'm trying to get my tackle tech right, but I'm getting sporked.
Sport.
And it was just such a frustrating time, but anyway, it's in a better place.
Nice.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's I'm not concerned really about you, to be honest with you. Just trying to fill time here.
couldn't give a shit.
Because in fairness, playing that long, like, because at the top end, professional end, you were playing what, 12 years, I suppose, 10, 12 years.
11 years, yeah.
But like, you're still like, you see some lads, some of the English lads, especially like the likes, Graham Roundtree's, like, he looks like he's been like battered. He looks like a blind carpenter's thumb, the poor fucker. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just. But you see front rowers who end up in ribbons. Like, you're still like
dangerously handsome.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah. There's a lot of passion coming across the screen here, guys. It's basically there's a lot of Tipperary symbiosis and whatnot. But like, did you wreck both the years or just one year?
One year is not nicely wrecked, yeah.
Yeah.
And my mother said to me one day, we were having Sunday dinner, and she was kind of looking over, and you had such lovely little ears. I was like, Jesus, Mum. Because my ears are tiny. Like, so Graham Roundtree's ear is like a foot.
It's like Denis Leavy's hand.
Mine is I don't know if you can see it there. Look, that's how big it is.
At best 10 millimeters, people. I'm looking at.
So it's I've small ears. This one in the middle is a bit gone, but I got a knee into the ear, and that's how that happened. Tackling someone, I couldn't tackle.
I got a lad to leech my ears back in Gelbley one time. Actual leeches, put it on my ear, fell off after about 45 minutes, full to the neck with all whatever shit was in my ear, and the ear went back to normal. It was out like a dinner plate, like Pat Short's fucking, like it looked.
Well, when I was at under 21s, I was getting it syringed, and the doctor at the time said, hold a tissue on that now. And we were over in France playing an under 21s thing, and he goes, hold it. And at the dinner table, so that was in the dressing room. At the dinner, I went over to him again. I said, it's full again. And he went, I'll syringe it again. So he syringed it again, and I was kind of getting the impression that he wasn't happy with, because he was having dinner and a few pints. And then I went over a third time and said, later on, maybe dinner's over now, and I went over and went, this is after filling up again. He goes, look, that's it. That's it. You're
getting two out of me, and that's it now.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up, woke up the next morning, that's what was there. So.
And you had such lovely ears one time.
And you had such lovely little ears. Cheers, Mum.
Well, to be fair, these days you could just, when you're on holiday or whatever, you just say, I was a UFC fighter, hard as fucking nails.
I'm gone strong in the waist, so they just wouldn't believe me now.
No, to be fair, like that, you're keeping yourself in order. You must be running around with the boys, because I have notions of you being so excited by the scrummaging practice that you're just sliding underneath like a mechanic going, well, boys.
Yeah. I'd love to.
You know what? With the 4G pitches, you could actually roll a little mechanic's trolley, just lie underneath it, and just go, well, boys. This is great.
That could be the next move for me.
I'm pretty handy. I can put one together with all-terrain wheels if you need it. I just saying.
We've so many angles. We've so many video angles these days that's one we don't have. The inner workings.
I'm cutting that out actually, because that now is patent written all over it.
Yeah. Fuck it anyway. I have peeked in, but yeah, there's a lot of body in there. There's a lot of body.
That's a lot of made.
That's a lot of made.
Like, that's the thing, and I won't keep you too much, because I know you show one fucking night off, and this bollocks is talking to you with a mullet.
No.
But there must be moments where you're going, I still have it. But then all of a sudden you grab a hold of Andrew Porter at a fucking training session. You're like, no, we're grand now. We're grand.
Yeah,
is it that way? Like,
no, I went through a bit of that. I could definitely let me in there, have a go, but I was holding a bag. I was holding a bag for we were playing Scotland in the Six Nations, just gone away in Murrayfield, and Ty goes to me, just hold a bag there. I just want to do one or two hits, and I was like, yeah, no problem, and I took the bag up, and he kind of reversed back a bit. Oh. And I was kind of creeping forwards. And he goes, I want to run it. I want to lead in. So I went, yeah, okay. And
we got a bigger bag.
Boom. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And so it shook me. And one more. He did one more, but when he was doing one more, Jack Conan he saw that I was holding a bag and I was fair game. So then he rolled in behind Tig. Fogs, just one there, just one. And he came, boom. And then Ports, Foggy, any chance? And at that stage I went, no. It shook me, like it shook my bones. My insides were all over the shop. So I'm in no way. I definitely for a couple of years I was like I could bust those lads.
Because the monsters that are coming out of school nowadays, whatever they're feeding boys these days, like Jesus Christ above.
It's now seen as a job, like they're getting ready for a career in sport.
Suppose, yeah.
So like they're and there's some of the schools, their program of development, they've director of rugbies, they have fitness programs, the mental coaches. It's really? Bonkers, like
at school level.
As a consequence, in some of them, as a consequence, out the back of it, you're getting a guy that you can put in front of the camera and he's like, "Oh, how are you? How's things?" He could also bench press, 150. It's amazing that the progress that was made in at that age. So it's you're getting proper athletes coming out now. So it's great.
But I suppose the flip side to it, you'll still always want the hairy cultures coming out from the schools teams, like water. You need
those lads. You can't beat it. Like you can't bait it. Like a fella that doesn't mind when he's in the middle of everything and all he wants is a slap. You know what I mean? And he's just fucking like that's gold dust. And you can't kind of coach that, and you certainly can't find that in the gym. And some lads have an appetite for all of that stuff, and they're very difficult to play against. I guess that's why in Leinster they're fishing the cultures out of everywhere. The Sean O'Brien's, the Tig Furlongs, they know there's something not right.
Yeah, because I just imagine like that lad waking up, and pre-game psych up is just bring a hurley and just flake the back off him just to get him going,
just getting ready for war. Yeah. Yeah, it's an honest thing that some fellas have.
So I mean, and of course we've a couple of, hopefully see a couple of lashing new young, like your man Gavin Coombs. In fairness, he's out of West Cork, and hell, genetics there.
I was chatting to him and he said it like, he would have even been told, there's no one out of Skib that's going to be a rugby international, so he's baiting away up there now. He's the team isn't out just yet.
Oh, of course it's not out. Yes, well, it'll probably be out by the time this comes out. Yeah,
he's got a very, very strong chance of being involved. He's going to get time, and but exactly, it's unbelievable. You still need that lump. The chemistry of a team. He's talked to Leo about it. Like you can't have a load of brains. You can't have a load of brawn. You need a little bit of brain, a little bit of brawn, and a bit of tug, or a fella is going to make it all. If you go away from home, it's such a good test just to watch a young lad coming out of the academy. He gets his first year and he plays an away game against Dragons in January, and you'll see it. Some lads don't really want to be there. There's no grass in the pitch. Welsh people are. They're funny old people. Yeah, exactly. And particularly in Dragons. And it's just, it's raining and it's miserable. And the lights don't really work that well. And they're kind of going, what the fuck? Whereas you get another lad who's like, here we go. Like, come on,
love this shit. Yeah.
Rubbing muck on his face, So you want a bit of that. For sure you want a bit of that. Definitely. Beautiful.
This is Bogatron for me is just going to...
Bogatron, he said I was the least fashionable player in Leinster rugby when I was there.
I love that.
And I was like, I am. And
I am a Bogatron. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And get rid of that fucking Ballygowan and get me a bottle of fucking tip water, will you?
There's a tip.
Well, just refuse to bend. Just refuse it. I love that.
Exactly. Turn it into a positive. I actually saw him there literally a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I was walking down and all I heard, Bogatron! I was like, okay.
What's the actual crack? Probably wearing a pink shirt or something. What's the actual crack right now?
Brilliant. His outfit was a prop from Cork. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
With a big mustache. So
I can appreciate that.
So-
in fairness, I can appreciate a good mustache. Oh, listen, the word of them fellas are only pretending. Like, sure. I mean, you look at you look at an awful lot of these fellas. There's culture not far from anybody. Like, we're just the origins of it. That's all it is. Premier. We'll leave it on that. John Fox, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me on.